Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today we have a video courtesy of DG Pitbull in the Tier 9 French cruiser, the Saint Louis. And these high tier French cruisers can really take over matches, and this map is a great one. Even though they pulled a Tier 10 battle. Like, this is basically 50-50, Tier 10s, Tier 9s, and if you look, Pitbull's team has a couple 8s, whereas the enemy team does not. So you might think you're at a disadvantage, but really, once you get up here, player skill takes over far more than ship composition. There are people who just play their ships well, and Pitbull makes great use of the Saint Louis. He's also playing alongside Aethertech, who's in a Fletcher, and having a destroyer always helps you out, because that pretty much means he's going to have spotting. One of the downfalls of these more kitey cruisers, where they're meant to flank and be out on the edges, harassing and doing damage that way, is sometimes you're so far back you don't have any spotting. So having a destroyer alongside to get those lights really helps out. And then just mixing fires and floods can go a long way. And here comes the first victim in the form of a Qckslvrslash. Also worth noting, there are carriers in this one. Thankfully, Pitbull does have the anti-air consumable mounted. And as useful as Hydro can be on this ship or the Henry IV, you just can't run them, because if you come against a top tier carrier, if you don't have that, you're really out of luck. Because playing these ships, you're going to be out on flanks alone. They're not good in tight in fights. They need the open water. That's exactly why Pitbull has come out to the 1-2 line. It's basically going to give him the space he needs to keep his speed up and the rudder shifting. Where you see, these longer range cruisers make mistakes is when they get into places that they no longer have that ability to maneuver. And these French ships really do it the best. With that speed boost, you basically never lose your speed as you're shifting back and forth. Now, 24 shells in, still no fire. That's okay, he's up to 14,000 damage. And, well, the Qckslvrslash shoots at him, but sees those shells long before they get there, kicking the rudder over, sidestepping all of them. And that's pretty much what you have to do. One of the other big keys to sailing something like this is making sure you limit how many people can shoot you. If you start seeing, and I would highly recommend you run priority target on these ships, 3, 4, 5 ships firing at you, well, you need to go dark. Because one ship you can successfully dodge, and you'll also notice DG runs the incoming fire alert, so he knows when that button is clicked in his direction. And those two things basically means, with the rudder shift, and I can only assume the rudder module, at 15 plus kilometers, he should be pretty much impossible to hit, with the exception of some RNG or if someone starts spraying. Now that's my technique when I'm shooting at some of these ships. Rather than shoot all my shots in one place, I might fire half my barrels at where they're going, and then another half just randomly somewhere else that if they turn, they could sail into. Now you can see Aether communicating with the Shimikaze. They're trying to work together, and well, this Qckslvrslash, he is slowly melting. Now on Standard Battle North, and as a result Northern Lights, they can become very stagnant battles, and you can see that happening. Both teams basically having the bulk of their fleet just sitting on their own base. I've watched games where the entire team has come out to A and just one DD sneaks into the base and that's the game. So getting out onto the flank like this pretty much just gives you open season to shoot whatever you want. Because all these ships sitting in the base, they got to pay attention to, the Conqueror, the Ismo, these heavy hitters directly south of them. They can't afford to turn because a cruiser is shooting HE at them. The reality is, the cruiser shooting HE at them is probably going to be one of the ones to really rack up the damage. And, well, got a Neptune charging, so only right thing to do is swap targets. First volley there, 4,000, and you can see DG switched to AP. Why? Well, it's a Neptune. The thing has next to no armor, like all those British cruisers. 2 citadels is all it takes, picks up the first kill, and just about cracks 50,000 damage. And, well, he loaded a second round of AP. I'm guessing in case the Neptune didn't die with the first. Still gets a great hit on that Izumo, and, well, back to AP, because that's really what this is going to do best. Fires up his repair party, and you can see Aether coming around, popping that smoke, helping his division mate out. And this is just another reason having that DD is so helpful. Sure, the stealth fire doesn't exist like it used to, but it still helps you. It can let you break that contact, and you can see from within the smoke that detection range is only 9-1. So, with no ships nearby, the enemy destroyers both spotted, there's no risk of DG getting caught here. That's the biggest thing I'd say nowadays. When you're sitting in smoke, know what your detection after firing from smoke is, and know where enemy DDs are, because they're what's going to sneak in, get inside that range so you fire and bam, you're detected. And oh my god, another Neptune. He has to turn side on. And he's got to do it because he can't afford to sit taking shots from these ships in the south. As a result, Pitbull just gets perfect broadsides into him. First one didn't do so great, the second one looking a little better, but there's the cab working on Aether, so gotta focus on something else. And when you've got a div mate, you have to help them, especially in a destroyer. And a cab versus a Fletcher, the cab really outclasses the Fletcher, and you can just see Aether melting. Now he did get torps in the water, and looks like he might be able to get one, but the cab ducks. Where this does help is it means the Qckslvrslash is sailing closer. Downside of that, Pitbull's now spotted, so he pops that engine boost, and it's time to get moving. Inside 10k though, this isn't going to be that hard a ship to hit. And one of the nice things, more so about the Henry IV, you can run down pretty much anything. That's the nice thing about the speed boost in these cruisers. So if you have a DD thinking he can gunboat you, you can just chase him down if need be. But doing so right now would be a bad idea. It would put Pitbull in a rough spot, and speaking of, can he get the ass around to dodge these torps? The speed doing it, that was close. But as I was saying, the cab, he's left. He is going to chase the Shimakaze. The Shima has the advantage in detection there, should more or less be able to stay dark as long as the Hakuryu doesn't go looking for him with the aircraft. And the biggest tell is going to be this wall of torps at the Izumo. So, if that hack is paying attention, the Izumo just took a big hit from Shima torps, from his north. You know who's going to be dead. And, well, the Flood gets him one less ship, and so far this battle is even. DG is up to just about 100,000 damage, still sitting on that one kill, but no one's really established map control. One of the things I'll also point out is, you notice, as these battleships have pushed out onto the flank, Pitbull's repositioning a little closer to the center of the map. Being out there with the battleships, it doesn't provide you the crossfire that you need to really get some of that damage done. And if you're ever playing with someone and you're getting chased, you need to split up. You need to go different directions just to generate that crossfire. And that's a kind of basic technique. When too many ships all start to ball up in one position, it makes it really easy for the enemy ships to just be like, well, there's the force, just keep your guns pointing that direction. When you have two ships, different directions, you get someone, a little bit of that indecision, like I had in yesterday's video, you can pull your guns off target long enough that you're just not doing damage when you should be. Now, Pitbull, because he has priority target, can be a little cheeky here. He's sitting pretty much still, just shifting forward and backwards slowly, but until someone aimed at him, he wasn't going fast. But now that he's got someone pointing their guns in the direction, it's time to move, watching for that incoming fire alert, but it doesn't happen. Whoever was looking at him shifts targets, and, well, Either way, you need to get back. Standard battle, you have to protect your base. And while this Frederick de Grosse over here shouldn't prove too huge a threat simply because you have carriers involved, he does pose a threat. Luckily, the hack gets taken out by the Yu Yang, and it's one less thing to worry about. Air dominance is established. DG never once had to deal with the planes coming his way. Always a big bonus. And, well, now he's got to get into position to figure out what this shim was doing. Hopefully catch the Neptune and just defend the base. Now some gunfire coming over the hill. You pretty much know where the Neptune's sitting. That's one worrisome target located. Simply because if the Neptune managed to get his broadside, even in a single volley, these French cruisers, he'd probably melt almost entirely. And that's one of the downsides. It's one of those things you just accept sailing, you know, the St. Louis or Henry IV. Unlike the Hindenburg, which is another good kiting ship, the Hindi has some surprisingly troll armor. It can bounce shots you wouldn't expect it to. And that keeps you in the fight. These French cruisers, not so lucky. Good fire there on the GK, and the GK burning, focus the Musashi. Spread that fire around. Watch the world burn. It's the exact same technique that you would use in something like the Qckslvrslash. Once you get one fire, just let it tick, because so many people allow, rightfully so, one fire to burn, because you know the second they repair it, there's going to be another two on their decks, and then they're taking some real damage. The Shima was momentarily spotted in that gap, which means one thing: torpedoes. Pitbull accelerates away, no problem dodging those, and now the Shima is in a tough place. He's got smoke, but there's an Otago there, and, well, if the Shima keeps firing, it should give Pitbull a good enough idea where he is to put torps in the water, and then, more than likely, put some gunfire down. But he opts to just throw the torps, swapping over to the Musashi to try to finish what can be a very dangerous battleship. The Musashi, with her dispersion, is hit or miss. But when she does hit, it is hard because they're the same guns as the Yami, and they hurt. And, well, you can see the Shima ran away. It's got a fire on it. Well, the Musashi repaired it, but did have a fire. Oh, no, it's still going. And one on the GK. Always nice. The Neptune still somewhere back there, really forcing Pitbull to just open that distance. One of the nice things with this ship is you can reposition so quickly. You can just get out of dodge. Someone starts shooting at you. Okay, time to go. And, well, Neptune, side on, back to AP, using the right ammo for the right target. And these are looking pretty good. Two Citadels, picks up the Confederate, and pretty much removes the Neptune. You can see him trying to repair, and, well, he might get away with it for now, but sooner or later, Pitbull is going to finish him off. Now, in a situation such as this, when you have a carrier, really, from a tactical standpoint, like, how's the best way to win this game? You want to just delay. You don't need to be aggressive. If you've got the only air power, give that CV some time to work targets down so that you necessarily don't have to. Now, Pitbull would probably disagree, wanting to do all the damage himself, but it is a solid tactic. You know, you've got a bunch of battleships all grouped up, you sail out into that, you're probably taking damage. CV lives some planes, but he can handle that. The Midway especially has an incredibly deep hangar. And, well, I feel for this Montana because he just repaired a fire. And that means he has become the singular focus of a cruiser whose entire job in life is to make battleships cry as just fire after fire gets lit on them. And, well, the Montana's also in a tough spot because there's a couple different sets of torpedoes heading his way. does manage to finish off the friendly Missouri, but at this point, I'd say it's a matter of time, and he's not even looking at Pitbull right now. So focused on the incoming dive bombers and everything that he just wasn't looking Pitbull's way. And even now, he switches over to shoot at someone else, at least momentarily, and then kind of comes back using those rear turrets on Pitbull. And, well, one ship shooting at you, kick the rudder over, you should be able to dodge it. The fire's doing their job, slowly working away, and, well, the Montana's gonna have to turn tight and slow up here to clear this edge of land, making him that much easier of a target. Oh, didn't clear the edge of land. Now he's completely stationary, easiest target in the game. Unless RNG hates you, in which case you just wash their decks, maybe help put out the fire that Yu Yang just lit. And it's kind of good timing that this Montana's going to go down because, well, here comes a Qckslvrslash. And once you get a couple ships shooting at you, you find yourself in trouble in these French ships. The other thing I'd worry about is this game isn't in the bag. The enemies have the lead. They've got the ships, so getting some kills quick is an absolute must. And, well, with the Qckslvrslash here, he's kind of the main target, and you can see Pitbull quickly tapping onto that torpedo thing just to get a sense of the speed that the Qckslvrslash is doing, so that when his next shells are ready, he can put them in the air rather than waiting to see where that first volley landed. And this is just another one of those little tricks that can go a long way in helping you out. And, well, CV left in the game. What do you expect to happen to the Qckslvrslash? Eats a whole ton of torpedoes. He's got no support. I think he charged out to go, okay, I'm going to help this Montana. You know, the Montana's pushing a pair of cruisers. If I join him, no way we lose this. But the Otago and Pitbull both doing a very strong job of just keeping their distance. Just outside 15 kilometers makes him really hard to hit with the speed he's got. And, well, someone has become obsessed with tagging and tapping the midway, and I think it might have been Pitbull. Just really wanting to make sure this Qckslvrslash goes down, because for all you know, you might not have a chance to run down any of the other ships. The fire gets him high caliber, the shell lands, gets the kill, picks up Arsonist, and he's up to 223,000 damage. A great amount, you know, well over 5 times his own ship's hit points. And this one's not over. They have the lead now, so they can sit comfortable in that, but you never know what can happen with a team. You can have what you feel like is a game on lockdown, and then a couple players make silly mistakes, and you're down a couple ships and potentially out of the game. Still managing to hit that DeGrossa over the hill, well, at least until the shimmy shows up, and Destroyer fires torps your direction, or Destroyer shows up broadside, you change your direction. Pitbull basically does a quick 180, and torps sail well clear of his stern. And fire picks up the DeGrossa. Here comes the Neptune. Swapping to AP. Time to finally finish this guy off. Sitting at 234,000 damage, under a minute left. Blind fires based on basically his last spotted position. Yeah, the first shell's looking half decent. They go a little bit long. Maybe these back ones will get it before that second volley arrives. Not quite. Sooner or later, like I said, he was going to get that kill. Up to 4 kills, 238,000 damage. Shima popped past in front of him. You might worry about torpedoes. He did fire 2 volleys earlier, so that more than likely meant he only had the one, and Shima kind of messed that up. I think he threw them a little bit too early to really stand a good chance of catching Pitbull. And now this one's over. The enemy team really can't do anything. Sadly, there aren't another 30 seconds left, because then Pitbull would manage to pick up his Kraken. And while the game could have been close, I really feel Pitbull's positioning, moving back to the cap, made a difference. It helps that the enemy team kind of sailed in one at a time, as you see way too often. Please, if it's late game, push as a group. That would have made a world of difference. Possibly. They could have also just stayed back at their cap because they had the lead. There was no need to push. Anyways, he took home a great number of credits, experience, got the Arsonist, Confederate, Witherer, High Caliber, and honestly, in this ship, if you can't get Arsonist or Witherer, like one of those two, you're doing something wrong because it just does it so well. 246,000 damage, 4 kills, just shy of that Kraken. A little more time, I think the Shimakaze would have been his. And just a crap ton of fires. And that's what the St. Louis does. And it sucks when you're getting focused down, which is why it's important to think about when you're using that damage control party. Try to go dark, then use it, then repair, then re-engage. It's really the best way of dealing with these. But end of the day, a great game to watch. Really shows you what these cruisers do and where they're best, and it's in the open water, moving. Thank you, Pitbull, for sending it to me. I enjoyed watching it. If you guys did, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash. I'll have another one for you all later.